Welcome to the service clinic at Low Country Harley-Davidson. I'm Doc Harley. Received an email with the question, what tools do I need to work on my Harley-Davidson? Great question. Now, of course, yes, I have the huge big toolbox, and it's taken many, many years, but when I started graduating from MMI, this is all I had, was just a little Craftsman toolbox with just the basic tools. So, you do not need to have mega tools to work on your Harley-Davidson. This is really what we've gone to as Harley-Davidsons. And of course, the very first tool we have to talk about, and you knew I was going to talk about it, you need a service manual. If you're going to attempt to work on your motorcycle, you need the year and manual for your Harley-Davidson. It gives you the all how-tos and the correct torque settings that you need to apply when you're putting it all back together again. So, before you go on the catalog or eBay and find tools, get this first, all right? Then you have an idea that you're doing it the correct way. Roll around carts. That's what most of the technicians are doing now because we have 3 lifts, so we can go from motorcycle to motorcycle. And when we need a specialty tool, we go back to our home base. But in the morning, we set up our tool cart with all the tools. So what standard tools do you need? All right, on my roll-around cart, I've got 3/8 drive, short and tall. I've got Allens and torque bits. These are mandatory working on Harley-Davidsons because T27, T25, T45, those are the basics you use almost every day. Then you've got the short Allens from 5/32 to 3/8. And of course, I have my hand Allens, but most of the time I'm using those. Then I've got extensions, the ratchets. I've got some ball Allens here to reach things when I want to reach it, but basics, you need flat screwdrivers, medium and a large. You've got 2 Phillips. These are more torques that I can just conveniently use instead of working up a ratchet here. Always have a great flashlight because you need to see all around the motor in some dark places. Metric-wise, you need 10mm socket and 10mm open-end wrench for the battery. You will need possibly a 12mm socket for the starter. The starter connection has a 12mm. And then if you're going to do more extensive things on the front forks, they're metric in themselves. But this is your basic for working on your motorcycle. Let's just say you want to change a tire. Well, if it's a Sportster, you're going to need a large socket of 1.25 inches. If you're working on a touring bike, you're going to need a 36mm. Yeah, pretty good size. So that brings us to the torque wrenches. Yes, you have to own a torque wrench. Invest in a good torque wrench. 3/8 drive usually gets you where you're going, but lately, the bigger the wheel, the bigger time you go to 1/2-inch drive, all right? And this baby goes all the way up to 250. That only works, is needed on the compensating sprocket area. Mostly it's 100 foot-pounds on the big dressers and a little bit less on the earlier models. So torque wrench, yes, invest in a good 3/8 drive and then get yourself a 1/2-inch drive later down the road. My first drawer is just open-end wrenches, standard. I've got on the standard side, and then I've got a little bit longer ones for better leverage, and then I had some fun and invested into the ratchet kind to make things move along quickly. Second drawer just has some pliers in it and other little tools that it just helps get the job done. Of course, a pair of dikes to cut the wires. Oh, and this little baby, remember my video on that for prying something up and not having to scratch anything? That was helpful. Needle nose pliers and a few other wrenches. We could discuss this on and on and on, but these are tools that I found that I needed on a daily basis. Something possibly, if you can find a brass drift, helps in removing axles when you are starting to get the axle through, and then you can pull it on the other side. All right, just down below, oh yeah, the 4-pound hammer. Sometimes things are a little difficult. Try not to use this, but it's always good to have. Most of the time, I grab the dead pound. Yeah, the dead blow hammer is a lot nicer to Harley-Davidsons. If you can, invest in covers. Fender covers, fuel tank covers. Yeah, it's a little expensive, but boy, it's a lot more expensive fixing the paint if you drop something. These are really good to find. Then there are funnels and daily things, oil filters. I'm sure you'll look over my cart while you're going over the video a couple of times and you'll see some other specialty tools. Those are things that you just find on a daily basis that help you get to what you're trying to work on. I hope this gives you an idea and doesn't overwhelm you because you can work on your motorcycle just with some basic tools that will help you, but invest in some good tools, all right? I don't want the cheap stuff that will round off something. You got to have some pretty good tools. If you got some questions, post them. I'd be happy to answer a specialty tool possibly that you are thinking of purchasing. I'm Doc Harley. We'll see you next week.